Hey there folks, my name's Torinski and welcome back to another DCSS Sunday. Today we're of course jumping right back into the usual routine of trying to get a win with every DD in the game, and where we last left off we'd had our final runs of version 0.30, trying to get some Rue victories in. The last couple tries there weren't even able to find Rue, unfortunately, but today we're going to be jumping in the latest version, the latest stable version here, and maybe getting a chance to try out some of the new stuff, shapeshifting Oni. In fact, shapeshifting Oni might be the first run we do here, just to get a nice breadth of the new content here, but who's to say what the dungeon has in store. So without further ado, let's just get ready. Hop into it, shall we? In general, I've been trying to be a little less spoilery with the intro in case new folks are coming around. They might want to see those past runs, but today wasn't too worried about it because I think we'll be aiming for Rue again. So it's going to be pretty apparent that we did not, unfortunately, make it through on that side of things. But hopefully we can see some progress here today. I did not mute my laptop. Some lovely Windows sounds that you may or may not have heard from the background there. Fantastic. And okie dokie. I guess with all of that out of the way, let's get prepped, shall we? So we have the new Oni here. So I've just done a very brief amount of research. It seems like they're very similar to ogres, have a couple aptitudes shifted around, and then they also stole the double potion efficacy from the Armator. So I think just healing potions are doubled in effect and do this drunken brawler effect, some kind of cleave damage in my very limited glance. But hey, I guess we'll see what all there is to learn about Oni as we continue on here, because I think that is where we're going to start off today. Don't know if they make good shapeshifters. It's not a recommended background for them, but if they have the health of an ogre, similar armor slots to an ogre, then I imagine shapeshifting is going to be a beautiful way forward. So let's try it out. Let's try and brute force this, shall we? And I'm not feeling super creative here, so let's just look up Oni names, shall we? We'll just steal one of those. Can think of the clever jokes a bit further into the stream. Right now, I'm just excited to hop in and try things out here. So let's take Aragumo from the list that Google brings up for me here, shall we? Fantastic. And I'm guessing the start here is going to be fairly similar to how it always is. Definitely want unarmed combat up. Right, shape shifting. I have no idea how high to put you yet. We'll take a look through all that in a moment here, because otherwise we probably want all the usual things here. And fantastic. Wait a second. I think I saw something there. Sack of spiders. Huh. Let's see. Can I highlight you and learn more about you? I guess I'll have to wait to see if we actually find one over the course of our venture here. And it already looks like we're in some kind of special mode here. Begin untransformation. I haven't even watched, or really watched. I think maybe in the background I saw Wizard running through the shapeshifter, but I had not really checked out anything here. So I didn't even realize. Oh, there we go. A period of sustained concentration is needed to enter or leave form, so it's semi-permanent. Interesting. A large patch of fur around a shining, gold-glowing eye transforms the user into a monstrous, furry werebeast, limbs pulsing with murderous energy. Shapeshifting skill increases the killing power, and while transformed, any gloves, cloaks, headgear, and boots. Okay, so in this beast mode, we still are allowed our main armor piece, it looks like. I'm curious if that's going to change between them, because they're very specific here as to what is omitted. Oh, but this is really nice. Minimum skill, max skill, as well as actually giving the stats of base damage and slay. Very cool. Okie dokie. Oh, and we have a flux talisman. Ominously glowing substance. User becomes unstable at a fundamental level, inflicting dangerous levels of magical contamination on foes. That's always pretty strong. Sufficient, causes meltdown, dealing enormous damage. Very cool. We're unable to use weapons, shields, or body armor. So this one you are allowed gloves, cloaks, boots. Very cool. Very interesting. And then HP and bonus evasion, as well as classic offense stuff, but we do not have the minimum skill. Very cool. They've been removed in the past, which is that they'll fund the sack of spiders. Potentially, it sounded familiar when I glanced on it, but I wasn't sure if that was from this game or more generally from, you know, fantasy, D&D, anything in that category. Does it have its own equip slot, or is it using an existing one? Which is that they'll fund the shapeshifting talismans here, because it doesn't seem like they use any slots, and they're just sitting in our inventory. We can maybe evoke them? Ah, we can indeed evoke them to get the different effects. Well, okie dokie. I guess we'll go forth in beast mode here, and we'll see how things lie. Might start to struggle, I don't think on the first floor or two, seeing as how the additional health that we have from the Oni start will do a lot of work in keeping us in one piece during the early game, but as soon as we hit kind of orc packs, null packs, you know, D3, 4, that's where things might start to get a little bit tricky, a little bit finicky. And especially since we can't even put on armor. So I feel like we actually want to potentially find a talisman that absorbs more slots. You know, take advantage of the fact that we can't really wear armor and instead convert it into some kind of advantage with the shapeshifting here, if at all possible. Definitely existed in DCSS in the past. Sack of Spiders was just a temp summon thing. Okay, cool. I'm curious, it seems fairly similar on a functional level to Box of Beasts, so they might have done a similar thing to Wands, where we just have one or the other showing up during the course of a run. If not, then that's a whole lot of summons to throw at enemies in the late game, and evocables I don't think needed the power boost from my personal experience. But hey, we shall see how it all goes down. Oh, I didn't even notice the Ring of Protection. That is huge. Oh, and Ribbon Worm. A giant annelid glistening with slime. Okay, it expels fragments of its own innards to ensnare unsuspecting prey. So this has an ensnare ability and travels slowly. In fact, holy crap, this whole stat screen has been reworked. Look at that. Much more explicit info, which I'm always a big fan of. I like being able to see the numbers and crunch those in real time here, so that's fantastic. If each game is one type, that'd be a good decision. Yeah, we'll have to see. I know that's what they did in the past when they, you know, had like scrolls or wands that had similar tier of effect. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a similar aspect put in play here today, but we'll have to see how the cookie crumbles. You have to give them props for that. Call is an overall good way to add variety without having to upset balance much, for sure. And it kind of plays into the adaptability aspect of DCSS, which is already very present in its mechanics. You know, taking or making do with whatever comes your way and turning that to your advantage. So I could definitely see that fitting with the general vibe of things here, but we shall see. Oni still have the bonus strength on their 3, 9, 15, 21, 27 level up as ogres, right? I'm not actually too sure. We'll have to keep an eye out. I mean, I do believe we went up by 2 strength on that level 3, so maybe as long as we survive to level 9, we'll try to keep an eye out for that. It's always a little more noticeable when you're not stat dumping into the same attribute. Because you can see it rise without any input from our end, but not too bad. First orc pack, not too much for us to handle here, which is a fantastic start. I was a little bit concerned when we saw the orc priest coming out, but that is fantastic. And in fact, we're definitely coming into our own already here. I have no idea how to judge the strength or capacity of the shape-shifting, so it's gonna put us in a weird spot during all the early game. Oh, and I didn't even notice another Flux Talisman lying around. Very cool. I guess I should have double-checked. Our shape-shifting aptitude, -1 isn't too bad. It'll be a little bit slow, but I mean, generally almost all of your aptitudes on the Ogre are relatively low. I don't know them or wasn't familiar enough with them to really immediately find the difference between the original Ogre aptitudes and the Oni ones here. I'm sure lots of you out there are a little more in tune with the mechanics side of things there. Okay, War Axe of Holy Wrath. Oni are kind of synonymous with Demon. Do we have to worry about holy damage? Guess we'll find out in a moment here. It didn't seem to be hitting any harder than usual. Of course, that is just anecdotal, and you never really know how everything is being rolled in the background, so I'm not completely ready to stake my money on that. It does seem to be the case. On our very, very brief intro to the new shapeshifting mechanic here, I definitely enjoyed the feel of it. It kind of makes sense to me to make the swap from transmutations, which you're constantly recasting, but the majority of people who invest into those schools were always keeping it up anyway. You know, you were pretty much in statue form the entire time and just having to refresh it. So, you know, it added a little bit of tactical work of making sure that you had the magic available to reset the status if necessary. But at the end of the day, that very, very rarely became a factor, so I think it's nice to take that out, abstract it a little bit, and just make the transformations permanent. You know, at the end of the day, it almost feels more like a quality of life change than it does a mechanic one. But again, very, very rough kind of back of the napkin feeling there. You're carrying a Wand of Roots. So this purple background, I'm guessing means something special. In this case, a wand. Potentially, I don't even know what else it could show for. People who banish you, whether through weapon or spell. Not sure if the game will hold our hand that much, but definitely would be nice to see. And I will gladly take that Wand of Roots for myself, friend. That's perfect. We did get a bonus strength at level 6 there, so that could potentially answer a little bit of the earlier question. +2 animal skin. Don't mind if I do. Helmet, we will be unable to wear here. Definitely change into the skin though. Go up to 9 ACs. That's not too bad. Yes, Crawl considers Onis to be neutral creatures. They can still worship the good gods. Okay, that is definitely good to know. Makes sense with what we were seeing there with the Holy Wrath weapon. I guess any yokai style beasts don't exactly register as demons on the pantheon here, which is nice because that definitely is always a tricky spot for me, or rather I'm really bad whenever I play like a demon spawn at being cognizant and aware of when enemies are coming at me with something like a holy brand. And if you run into something like Seraph, oh gosh, just run for your very life. What the heck are you, friend? A Bombardier beetle, I guess? Unassuming beetle filled with an incredible, you heard me, an incredible amount of hypergolic fluid. The sticky sprayed fires is capable of igniting predators and unaware adventurers alike. The more experienced ones know to keep moving if they wish to avoid their fiery grave. Pyre arrow at 2d3. So this seems like a sticky flame type situation, except we can put the fire out much more quickly by moving. So stop, drop, and roll. Only let's forget the stop part and just get rolling. Something along those lines. Guess we'll just run up to you and then start rolling on the ground here. Very cool. They're pretty dangerous. I was not really thinking in my head that we'd be having a lot of new monsters rather. Oh, and the temple is already explored. Holy moly, bunch of little quality of life things included in the update. But yeah, I'm guessing we'll see actually a few new monsters. Generally, there are a couple of new unrand arts thrown into the mix too, but I've mostly stayed away from reading up on those because I generally like to be a little surprised when they do show up. I mean, even the poleaxe from a couple weeks ago, that was my first time ever coming across that or even knowing it existed in the first place. Unfortunately, going back to our run here, no Rue Altar, hey? It's definitely what I was hoping for. I don't know if someone like Okawaru really makes too much sense. I guess it kind of fits with the shapeshifting because heroism and the fast attack ability would scale pretty nicely with our unarmed business here. What else could we do? Maybe Wujian for the snake step? Or do we just hold out hope? See if we do come across Rue over the next little bit here. Run them on low floors, especially if you are minus HP characters rough. Oh, I'm sure. Especially, so where are we now? We're on like D4? Yes, Temple's on D4. I can see that right here on the screen. So how early can they show up? Because if it's on the first couple floors, then oh me, oh my. I can only imagine you're playing on like a Spriggan or something. You can definitely very quickly burn away what little health you have. And you're saying Dith Spin Dart. What would Dithmenos rather do for us here? Gives us a little bit of stealth. In general, I'm just not super familiar with Dith. I feel like it's been a long time since I ran them, and the last times I did back in the day, it was largely to do a kind of meme proc build, where he just used like the Conjure Battle Sphere and Magic Dart with the Shadow Strike from Dith, and try to stack up as many status effects as you can here. So what do you do for us, Dith? Aura of Darkness, of course. Oh, it does reduce the accuracy of our foes, so that would actually be pretty nice, as well as Bleeding Smoke could definitely be handy. We could try it out. Just throw something new into the mix here. Rue be darned. I'm kind of tempted to do so. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants regardless. I'm not expecting this run to do well, because I'm guessing I'm going to overstep what we're able to accomplish with our shape-shifting at some point. You know, it's the first run. It's to be expected. Gozeg is always a good baseline god to pick, for sure, if we were just going for the win. Unfortunately, on that side of things, we already wasted our Gozeg win on an earlier character, and in our journey here to try to win with every deity, I think we're going to tend to stay away from repeats unless absolutely necessary. You know, if we really want to break from the doldrums of struggling to win with new gods, I can go back to some of our favorites. Okay, let's try this out though. Why not? Rue has forsaken me once again here, not showing their face when we need it the most. And so, we'll just keep on keeping on and see if Dith can bring the honor and glory that we so desire. I mean, I can probably kill an Ice Beast. I'm always scared, again, when it's our first time facing new enemies in unfamiliar territory. Okay, the Ogre had no shot. I guess that forever puts to bed the argument of what's better, Ogre or Oni. Wasn't even close. Falling asleep is definitely not exactly ideal when we have a poisoner nearby, but fortunately we're able to make it through without too much trouble there. Otherwise can just keep blitzing our way above and beyond here. Edmund. +1 heavy dire flail, so you'll be hitting like a truck. What we could do is try to soften you up with some poison, which will not do anything whatsoever. Fantastic. Made some constricting roots just to give us a little bit of a head start in the fight. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough on its own, so we will have to dip into our resources a little bit more. But Spindart, you think at D2 you can find the beetles? Oh geez, so you could still be level 1 or 2 on a low HP character. The one update I did actually happen to come across was that I believe Felids got slightly easier or slightly stronger. I can't remember exactly what it is. Something about, I think they get their second life a little bit earlier, and they might also no longer lose an experience level upon death. So it definitely gives them a little more consistency, because at the end of the day you could still obviously win with a Felid. We've done it many times on our own, but it was never a comfortable experience. So that might be nice to just give them a little bit more leeway in the early game. Yeah, Felix get an extra life. Oh, at experience level 1 and an extra life at level 4. Okay, that's very handy. Keep them alive in those early sections of the run where you can very quickly cascade into horrible situations on those squishy cat boys. Very cool.